All right, shiz. It is a nice, beautiful Tuesday night. It's a little chillier than it was the night before. As long as it doesn't get colder than that. I understand it's supposed to get down to like 40 something, but still not too bad. My hands is cold because I'm holding up this phone, so my hands are kind of cold right now, but not to the point where I'm dying. So at least that's good. But I want to. Oh, it's windy, so I apologize ahead of time for the wind noise. And I did a recording earlier today. I just when I picked up the phone, my phone said Nokia, and I'm like, the phone just turned off. Damn it! And then when I tried to see if there was anything recorded, it was all gone, all of it. There was no recording whatsoever. So for some reason, my phone died. I'm not sure why. But I was talking about Google versus Microsoft, and we can add a little bit of Apple here too. I got like a few more minutes of my lunch break, about 20 minutes or so, so I got time to talk. But I was saying a lot of stuff. I don't know if I can have the same enthusiasm for this particular video. We'll do the best I can. So, one thing I want to talk about is the stuff that Google, Apple, and Microsoft offers. The one thing is that what Google offers, Microsoft doesn't have, and Apple doesn't have. What Microsoft offers, Google doesn't have, and Apple doesn't have. What Apple offers, Google doesn't have, and Microsoft doesn't have. The fact is, every company offers something, has something that the other company doesn't have. So it's really hard to say which one is better, Google, Microsoft, or Apple. That's all based on opinion, but at the same time, it is also based on your needs. What do you use the services for? Do you prefer Apple computers over Windows? Well, there you go, because that is something that you can say that Microsoft and Apple has that Google does not have their own computer system. They got the Chromebook, but I don't really consider a Chromebook a full computer. It's more like a browser and a piece of hardware that can only run a browser, and that's it. That's run off of Linux, and that's basically all it is. But anyway, I believe Chrome is Linux, Chromebook, I mean. But the fact is that, yeah, there are certain things that you have to look at because sometimes you have to use because Google has services that Microsoft doesn't have and Apple doesn't have. Wait, what does Google offer? Well, they got YouTube, they got AdSense if you want to produce ads. They got one of the best advertising agencies ever, AdWords. If you own a company, you can purchase some flags, put on other people's web pages. They got that's how they make their money mostly. They make their money off of their search engine and off of their ads. Google doesn't really make a lot of money in their services that they offer. It is all being supplemented by and by Google search and Google Ads. For instance, they lose money on YouTube. They really don't make a lot of money on YouTube. But Google makes so much money in the search engine and the ads that it basically supplements all the other things that they have. So there's a lot of things you can compare on that you can compare. Apple doesn't have a competing Office system like Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office is probably the most popular Office suite on the planet, and there is none other like it. You got Microsoft Word, you got Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, and there are other Microsoft Office programs out there. So, and then Google has a competing setup as well for corporate as well as for personal use called Google Drive. Now, what Microsoft has over Google is that Google doesn't have an application that you install on your computer. It is all done online. So basically, you just go to google.com/drive, and there you go. Now, one thing that's good about Google is the fact that you can make your documents offline. So if you're not connected to the internet, you can access your documents still. But here's a caveat to that. You have to set it to offline while you got the internet connection before you go on your vacation where to your log cabin where you don't have internet, before you go there, so that when you get to your log cabin you can still work on your documents. Then when you get back home and you log into your Wi-Fi, your documents are automatically uploaded if you got Google Drive installed on your computer. Google Drive, basically, here's what I'm talking about for those who may not know. Google Drive and SkyDrive is an application that's installed on your computer that turns it into a cloud sharing storage space for your documents. You can store whatever document you want. You can store JPEGs, MP3s, and you can also store Office documents as well. So if you drop a file, it's the folder on your user profile. If you drop a file, a picture, a document, or anything like that into that folder, it automatically syncs it up to the cloud onto your account automatically. So SkyDrive and Google Drive is much like Dropbox and Copy.com, and there's many others out. There's a few others out there that does the same thing. But SkyDrive has built-in online word processing applications, and it's online. Now, I do have to admit, I don't use Google Presenter or spreadsheets, and the competing products is Microsoft PowerPoint and Microsoft Excel, as much as I use like Microsoft Word and Google Documents. But I do have to say that Google Documents online works really great, and it has a lot more features than Microsoft Word web app, which is the online version on SkyDrive, and SharePoint as well. SharePoint has the same thing. Now, but I do have to say that I use SkyDrive and SharePoint more and the online versions of Microsoft Word, because I know that my documents format will remain the same no matter where I'm at. So if for instance, here's a good example. If I create a document in Microsoft Word web app, I can send it to someone else and they will get the exact same thing on their Microsoft Word on their computer. Or they can open up a Microsoft Word web app and it doesn't lose any of the formatting. Try doing that with Google Documents. You create a document in Google Documents with a lot of formatting. You did all this you created this beautiful document, and you try to open up in Microsoft Word, and it doesn't look good at all. The only time Google Docs looks good is if you open up in Google Docs. So one thing you can do is, instead of sending the whole file in Google Docs documents to a friend, you just invite them to the document, and they can open it up on your Google Drive account, and they can edit the document if you allow them to. They can edit the document and collaborate with you. Same thing on SkyDrive. You invite them, and with the Microsoft ID, they can log into your account and edit the document. Same thing with SharePoint. SharePoint is just like SkyDrive when it comes to Microsoft web app. Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel web app. You can open up these documents very easily, but with Google Docs, Google Drive actually, there are a lot more options, because they have to. Because if they're making their system completely online, and there is no install version where you can install it on your computer version of Google Docs, then they're going to have to add as many options as they can on the web. But Microsoft Word, the installed version, is a lot more robust. You can do a lot more with Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint and other office programs than you can on Google Docs on Google Drive. There's a lot more you can do with it. Now, here's one thing that Google Drive offers that Google Drive offers that SkyDrive by Microsoft does not offer: more space. With a free account of Google, you get 15 gigs of free space. Microsoft only offers 7. I'm running out of time here. I had a whole recording before this one, and it sucks because somehow it got lost. I'm not sure what happened, but this is going to be the condensed version, I guess. Um, so now let's talk about business collaboration. Office 365 to me is way more robust than Google Apps for businesses. Okay, Google Sites, I don't like it that much. It just feels like a baby in a cradle, whereas SharePoint feels like an adult. Sorry to be sexist here, adult male. No, seriously, it feels more adult. Okay, it feels more business. It just has that. It's just more robust. You can do a lot more with it, and yes, it's a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to SharePoint. But so is Google Sites. It's a little bit of a learning curve as well. But I believe that someone can learn Google Sites faster than SharePoint if you're like an administrator. Now, I'm talking about administrator, okay, like a person who's setting it up for their company. Google Sites it's a little bit easier to learn than SharePoint is. And then you got Exchange and Gmail, which is a part of the Google Apps package. You don't get a Gmail account. You actually are using your company's domain name email address. So the name of your company is Hops Soup. Then you'll probably have something like your name at hopssoup.com. And you can use your domain on Google Apps in the same Office 365. Exchange is a lot more robust and it's a lot more familiar to people than Gmail is when it comes to business. And a lot of people are saying that Gmail is great for personal email, not so great for business email. And I've been reading a lot of reviews of companies who chose Google Apps over Office 365 because they like Gmail and they like Google. But after a while, they're like, yeah, but, we're missing some of the good features that we're used to with Microsoft Exchange. So they eventually start making preparations to switch over to Office 365 because they want Microsoft Exchange, they want SharePoint, and they want Microsoft Link. Microsoft Link and Google Hangout, two different communication platforms. Actually, I will tell you the truth, I like Google Hangout. I do. And it's cool that it's really cool because it's available for the public, for personal use, and it's also available for those in the corporate businesses as well. So you're not really using any different platform. And I think that's one thing that's good about Google is that yes, Microsoft Office is available for personal use as well as businesses. But when you're talking about server-side applications like Exchange, SharePoint, and Link, that's business only. You can't use that for personal unless you pay for it. Okay. Whereas Google's services, you can use it for personal, and it's the exact same interface for business as well. So if you know Gmail and you get Google Apps, it's the same thing. It's just a Gmail account, but using your company's domain name. Google Hangouts is the exact same as Google Hangouts that you use for your personal account when you hang out with your buddies. It's the same thing as when you're hanging out with your corporate workmates. And then let me see. And then Google Sites is the exact same as your personal Google Sites account. The only difference is you can add domain names to it. So that's the thing. is Google makes it where it's the same thing. It's just one is for business, the other one is for personal. Now, there's a lot of rumors going out that Microsoft pushes out there, like you've been scroogled, where they say that they're using your information, to collect data for their advertising so they can make money. And they're using your data for that. And a lot of companies, they have sensitive documents that they don't want the public to know about. Well, they don't want Google to know it either, right? Whereas Microsoft claims that they don't do stuff like that. That's what they claim. If it's true, I have no idea. We really don't know what Office 365 or Google Apps does with our data. So companies that have a lot of secret documents, a lot of sensitive documents, they normally don't go with cloud-based services like Google Apps or Office 365. They tend to keep their own stuff on premise. Google doesn't have an on-premise setup. It's completely in the cloud. So what does a company do? They go with somebody else who does similar stuff like Lotus Notes, and there's other companies out there, or they go with the familiar Microsoft business applications or server-side applications like Microsoft SharePoint, Exchange, Link, and other applications like that. I'm almost out of time here. I wish I could have talked about more because I want to talk about the mobile phones between Microsoft, Apple, and Google. And there were a lot of things I talked about in the previous video that I lost. Hope I don't lose this one, but maybe another time. But outside of that, peace out.